Loving thy neighbor is easier said than done. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 reasons Ned Flanders should move away from Homer Simpson. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at the worst things Homer has done to make Ned Flanders' life difficult, both emotionally and financially.
My neighbor Homer released a radioactive ape in my house. It's taken over the whole top floor.
Put together, these are clear signs that it might be time for Ned to get out of Dodge. Number 10. The time Homer kept him from knowing people were filming in his house. Some months, the money just doesn't go as far as it should. Since Ned has a spare room, he decides to look for a boarder, someone reliable and trustworthy. For a lot of guys, the idea of two college-aged girls shooting softcore porn in the house might be the jackpot. But for this Bible-thumping father of two, the situation is far from ideal. Since hosting sexyslumberparty.com was not exactly his ideal way of making ends meet. The thing is, Homer knew the truth about Ned's renters long before Ned.
Homer, is this true?
Ned, I had no choice. It was just so funny.
In fact, thanks to Homer, all of Springfield did, and Ned's embarrassment is enough to make him pack up and briefly leave town. Number 9. The time Rod and Todd copied Homer's cursing.
Damn crappy nails! Super glue my butt!
So in the grand scheme of things, this is far from the worst thing Homer's ever done. But if we look at it from the perspective of the evangelical Ned Flanders, hearing words like damn and hell no coming out of young Todd is truly heartbreaking.
Todd, would you like some mixed vegetables?
Hell no.
What did you say?
I said I don't want any damn vegetables.
It's par for the course and perfectly normal at Chateau de Simpson. But in Flanders Town, it's not only a black mark on the family's squeaky clean image. It means Ned has to introduce and explain to the boys the shady, sinful side of life. Number 8. The time Homer secretly made a dating video of him. Let's ignore the fact that this tape ends with a straight-on view of Maggie being born. That's an issue for another time.
That's it, baby. That's the money shot. You had a camera loved you.
When Homer puts together a voyeuristic video of Flanders to find him a hot date, he might mean well, but it's also a complete and utter invasion of privacy, gift-wrapped for any would-be stalkerinos. The video clearly shows his home, his vehicle, and his license plate, all of which, we'd remind you, is being presented to Springfield's loneliest, if not most desperate. It also gives away poor Ned's PIN, before showing him off in all his pixelated above-the-knees glory.
Dating? It just feels way too soon.
Oh, that's great! Chicks really dig sensitivity. Did you get that, Bart?
Got it.
Number 7. The fact that Homer always steals his stuff. Homer doesn't always resort to full-on robbery, but all the same, it's hard to say just how much of Homer's stuff is actually Homer stuff.
I know, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
With all the property of Ned Flanders stickers floating around, the numbers seem pretty low.
About those things you borrowed from me over the years, you know, the TV trays, the power sander, the downstairs bathtub. You gonna be needing those things in Cypress Creek?
Yes?
And as for Ned, well, chances are, if it's not in the Beetle room, it's somewhere in the Simpson house.
That's one right there.
All right, but remember, it's mine.
How most of these items wound up there, or why Homer needed to borrow Ned's bathtub, is never really explained. But Homer has made it clear they're never getting back to Ned. Number 6. That time Homer commandeered and destroyed his car and roof. The dating video isn't the only time that even Homer's good intentions leave Ned worse off. With the children of Springfield Elementary snowed in, the neighbors mount a rescue mission. This amounts to Homer cutting up Ned's roof and strapping it to the front of Ned's car as a makeshift plow.
I'm all for rescuing the kids, but I wish you hadn't sawed off my roof.
Why they couldn't have used Homer's car or roof is anyone's guess. But with Homer at the wheel, Ned's little grocery getter meets every pothole and curb in town, freezes thanks to a busted hydrant, and is finally rusted away when Homer crashes into a salt silo.
I think we hit something.
I hope it's Flanders.
Number 5. That time Homer took him to Vegas and they married Waitresses. Turns out Flanders is 60, or at least he was in 1999. When Homer outs him for getting a senior's discount, Ned realizes he hasn't really done much living. This leads to a rare, terrible idea from Ned, going to Homer for help. Under Homer J's tutelage, the pair winds up in Vegas, and Flanders is peer pressured into gambling and slamming back wine spritzers. Worse still, somewhere along the way Ned, like Homer, ties the knot with a cocktail waitress. It's unlikely he did the Diddily, but thanks to Homer, Ned put his entire family life in jeopardy.
But Amber, I can change!
You shut up!
Number 4, the time when Homer happily watched the Leftorium fail. Sure, the idea of opening a brick-and-mortar store catering exclusively to the left-handed in a pre.com world was a lofty one. It's such a niche idea, in fact, it would likely tank all on its own, without Homer wishing for Ned's failure, which is exactly what happens.
Come on, Homer. Tell him about the store. I'm dying out here.
Sorry, Flanders.
While Homer doesn't actively sabotage Ned's business venture, he does watch gleefully, and it's only when he sees Flanders on the verge of homelessness that he does the decent thing and sends his neighbor some much-needed clientele. At least it's not like Homer ever wished Flanders was dead or anything. Oh, wait.
Too far.
Number 3, the time Homer kicked him out of his own bomb shelter. As well as being a devoted family man, God-fearing Christian, and all-around good citizen, Flanders is a man who prepares. Out of everyone in Springfield, it stands to reason that the only person to think ahead enough to have a bomb shelter is Ned. But of course, all that's Ned's is Homer's, and he, along with the rest of the town, crams in, while Flanders is shuffled out.
I kind of figured this might happen, so I built the shelter big enough for both our families.
It isn't just the lack of space that puts Ned out, though. It's also Homer's oddly sound logic.
We all know the one thing we won't need in the future. Left-handed stores. That's you, Flanders. I'm terribly sorry. Flanders is the only useless person here. If anyone dies, it should be him.
We will give Homer some credit, though, for changing his mind at the 11th hour, even if it just means deciding to die with Ned. Number 2, everybody hates Ned Flanders.
Everybody in the USA hates their stupid neighbor. He's Flanders and he's really, really lame.
Carrie Fisher once said, quote, "If you can get Paul Simon to write a song about you, do it, because he's so brilliant at it." Unfortunately, Homer Simpson is no Paul Simon, and David Byrne's contributions do not help.
F-L-A. Don't yell at Ned. D-E-R. His wife is dead. Everybody hates that stupid jerk.
The lyrics of Homer's hate song about his neighbor are not subtle, and there are some deep, mean-spirited cuts. Like calling Flanders' sons creepy or referencing the fact that their mother is dead, especially distasteful coming from Homer. Then there's the line, "I'd like to see his house go up in flames."
He's the man that I hate best. I'd like to see his house go up in flame.
In spite of the fact that Flanders was first on the scene when that very thing happened to Homer.
Heck, he'd have done the same for me. Help! Help!
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some dishonorable mentions.
Come on, Ned, move this thing!
I can't! It's a Geo! Making some good scratch, too.
Scratch, eh?
Yep.
More, eh? You put the beer in the coconut and drink it all up. You put the beer in the coconut and throw the can away.
Homer!
You throw the can away.
I said Homer!
Number 1, the fact that Homer inadvertently caused Maude's death. Throughout the 90s, Homer became less and less a bumbling but good-natured oaf and more of an aggressively dim-witted agent of harm and chaos.
Oh, you want a rock fight, eh?
No, Homer! I just need to talk.
Okay, you write down.
This change of character is perhaps best exemplified by Homer's role in the accident that killed Maude. Due to his single-minded obsession with free handouts and limited attention span, Maude is pelted with a barrage of t-shirts intended for Homer and falls to her death.
Maude?
Oh my lord, she's dead!
Although he's not unaffected by it, Homer's relative ease in moving on from the tragedy, especially given his involvement, would be unthinkable a few seasons prior.
You know, Ned and the boys need us, and you know what that means.
I know. No more being a jerk.
That's right.
The whole event is the best reason of all that Ned should move far, far away.
Those feelings are normal, Ned. They're part of the process. Watch the sprinkler.
Hey, that's my sprinkler.
It's natural to feel that way, but the sprinkler is gone. It's time to let go.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.